Hi, hello. Welcome to the episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is January the 27th, 2026. Hopefully this episode finds you well, in good spirits and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. Happy Tuesday, everyone. Hopefully this episode finds you having a good day or night, depending on whenever you're listening to this, in a good place and all that. Hopefully you chewed it all up and you didn't get chewed up in the process. But yes, my day, it was cold, but it was good. We got up, still dealing with some foot issues, still dealing with some foot problems, but, we move, we march, and, I got my ass to work. I will say I was a little bit late, didn't sleep the greatest. I kind of went to bed too early, woke up in the middle of the night, had some, once again, with the foot issues and everything, I wound up, having to ice my foot down, all that, yada. Eventually, I go back to sleep, but I, sleep through, an alarm and a half. So, anyway, that's why I was 30 minutes late or so. But no biggie. I think we had 100 call-offs on just my shift alone. So, really, no one was mad about it. Everyone was, I think, kind of happy that I showed up. But no. Kind of got right to work. There was not a ton of buggies to work with, but, obviously enough for me to be where I was supposed to be. And I got the call that one of the people upstairs called out. So they needed me to run cardboard for one of the floors. And I was like, okay, no problem. That being said, I kind of knew that I wasn't going to be really needed that badly, just a little bit of coverage, for part of the day. So, eventually got up there, did that part, didn't have to really stick up there too long. Overall, it was a good work day, no complaints. I will add that, I've said in the previous episode, I'm kind of on my fat boy shit. I'm back on my fat boy arc, like I ever left, haha. But I did treat myself to a muffin. I've been wanting a muffin, low key, been wanting a muffin for a month or two. And I was just they're 400 something calories, but who cares? We're not counting. We're not counting right now. No cardio, no rules. So, I had myself a little muffin. It was good. It was yummy. But yeah, after that, I kind of noticed throughout the day, I don't know if it was the extra Advil I was taking or maybe just trusting the process is kind of working, but my foot was starting to feel a little bit better. Now, I'm not saying I'm ready to run a marathon. I'm not ready to hop, skip or anything, but I was noticing okay, I'm not in pain, wincing every other step. I'm okay-ish, and I think that's a big jump, a big improvement from last Friday. So we'll take that, right? So that being said, I took that energy with me into the gym, and it was busy, but not busy enough that I was able to get on all the machines, despite it being busy. I'll say it that way. So that was good. I didn't really feel hindered on any of my movements, so that was also a plus. That was also an upside. I even was able to pop the old shoes off and hit the squats and the deadlifts, so hell yeah for that. That being said, I kind of came up into the biggest wall or obstacle for my day, which was cardio, which I said once again in the previous episode, I don't think we're doing any cardio until I'm back. And I said, well, you know what? Maybe I'm back today. Maybe I'm back tonight, right now. And so I hopped on the Stairmaster and I took it slow. The slowest I've ever gone on the Stairmaster, just hitting 5 pretty much the whole way. But we got it done. And I'm like, okay, that was all right. Let's move to the treadmill for 15. That was a little bit rougher, but we didn't fall over. We didn't stumble, nothing like that. Took it slow, got it done. Then moved to the elliptical and the bike. Both easier by comparison, and I was like, hey, we didn't crunch a bunch of calories or anything like that, but it's something. It's getting us back in practice is getting us back on the road to like a full gym workout. Let's fucking take it. Let's fucking go. So I would say this is a W gym session for sure. You know, we didn't sweat it up. We didn't make it nasty or anything like that. But overall, we got our objectives done. So I'm always happy to do that. And I'm hoping, knock on wood, that we are only going to keep improving for the week. Into February, yes. And hopefully I can kind of get back to that 100% workout and feeling 100%. I'm really hoping for that. So yeah, that's a bit of the foot update, and just an overall rundown on my day. Y'all know the vibes after that. I came home, I stretched, I snacked, and I did some research. Hell yeah. So yeah. Let's go ahead and do our startup and let's get into some news. All right. Our first story is from NBC News. One person in critical condition after being shot in an incident involving Border Patrol in Arizona. A person was injured in a shooting Tuesday involving U.S. Border Patrol in Arizona, about 10 miles north of the U.S.-Mexico border, officials said. The person, who has not been identified, was shot in southern Pima County, southern Pima County, near milepost 15 of West Arivaca Road, around 7:30 a.m. The Santa Rita Fire District said in a statement. It said it transported the person in critical condition. Officials did not say that any law enforcement officers were injured. The circumstances of the shooting were not immediately clear. The Department of Homeland Security did not immediately respond to a request for comment. The Pima County Sheriff's Office said the FBI asked it to assist in an investigation into a shooting involving a Border Patrol agent in Arivaca, an unincorporated community around 9 miles north of the U.S.-Mexico border. Crews from San Rita Fire District and American Medical Response provided medical care at the scene, according to a news release. Patient care was transferred to a local medical helicopter for rapid transport to a regional trauma center, the fire department said. The incident remains under active investigation by law enforcement agencies. The Pima County Sheriff's Office said it is leading a parallel investigation into the use of force. An FBI spokesperson confirmed that the person was taken into custody Tuesday, adding that there is an ongoing investigation and that no further comment will be provided, or no further information will be provided. It is standard practice to involve the Sheriff's Department in an investigation when a federal agent is involved in a shooting incident in Pima County, the Sheriff's Department said. We ask the community to remain patient and understanding as this investigation moves forward, it said in a statement. PCSD will thoroughly examine all aspects of the incident. However, these investigations are complex and require time. Then they talk about the shooting of Alex Preddy and Renee Good in Minneapolis, but we're going to be touching on that again in actually the next article, so we can just kind of go ahead and move in there. I do want to close out, though, with this factoid. Federal immigration officers have shot 12 people since September as DHS has ramped up deportation operations around the country. And that's just shooting people. That's not necessarily any kind of confirmed kills, but like that's a fucking wild number to me. I mean, I guess you could say, well, this is America, could be higher, but like it just shouldn't be happening at this kind of frequency. And we're not even talking like a whole year passing. We're just talking, since September. We're not even through fucking winter, bro. Like, so a season has passed about, and we've got 12 people shot, multiple people killed. I think at least 3 or 4 people between ICE and Border Patrol combined. That's fucking wild, man. Anyway, let's continue on. Our next story is from the BBC. Immigration chief at center of Trump's crackdown set to leave Minneapolis. A top immigration official is expected to leave the U.S. city of Minneapolis in what may mark a shift in the White House's tone after the fatal shooting of a second U.S. citizen by federal officers over the weekend. As Border Patrol Commander Gregory Bovino and some immigration agents leave, President Donald Trump's border czar, Tom Homan, I think it's Tom Homan. I'm going to say Tom Homan. Tom Homan will begin leading on-the-ground efforts in the city after the fatal shooting of Alex Preddy on Saturday escalated tensions. Trump's decision may indicate the administration's interest in walking back more aggressive federal action in his nationwide immigration crackdown. Despite the announcement, online tracking shows immigration raids have continued. As well as a change in leadership and reduction in federal agents, there have been other signs of a shifting strategy by the Trump administration in recent days. Trump had phone calls with Democratic city and state officials that he described positively, a change in tone after attacking them over the weekend. The president himself has avoided the language used by some of his top aides that sought to blame Preddy for Saturday's tragedy. That being said, he is allowing his aides to do that. He's also allowing his aides to say, oh, well, at the very least, this is the Democrats' fault. They're riling up all the people and making them crazy. They're radicalizing them, and this is their fault. It's not the president's. So it's like, it doesn't really matter. You're letting your dogs off the leash to say this shit, and then he kind of gets to say, like, oh, well, maybe he wasn't so bad. But then again, he also will say, no, this guy was, like, a terrorist. Like, so he gets to talk out of both sides of his fucking neck on the issue, and, his base doesn't really fucking care. Anyway. His administration is facing pressure from some prominent Republicans who have joined opposition Democrats in calling for a wide-ranging investigation. On Monday, a Republican contender to become state governor dropped out of that election race, calling the enforcement operation in Minnesota an unmitigated disaster. That candidate was Chris Madell, a defense lawyer who has provided advice to the agent who earlier this month shot dead another U.S. citizen in Minneapolis, Renee Good. It's crazy that you're Jonathan Ross's defense attorney and you're going to be like, yeah, man, Trump's made this shit a little bit too hot. The situation's out of control. Brother, you're the salamander who is going to defend the guy who was just like, I'm just going to fucking shoot this lady for fucking turning her car too much. You almost hit me. Like, what are you talking about, dude? Like, I don't know, man. Maybe you didn't have a shot in the first place here. I don't know. Look within. But anyway, Bovino, who is the face of the operation when Preddy, an observer seen filming agents, became involved in a confrontation that ended in Preddy getting shot or being shot numerous times. I believe they shot at him 10 times, landed 9. And this is in a situation where they just massed on him, multiple guys beating on him with, I'm not exactly sure what, if these were like issued weapons or things they were just fucking picking up off the ground streets of raid style, but they were just beating this man. They're like, well, he has a fucking gun. And they go, okay, well, because we know that he has his gun, he doesn't have it, it's holstered, like, oh, he has his gun, though. We know that. And he's defending this woman and saying, hey, stop pepper spraying her. We're beating the shit out of this motherfucker. And then one of the guys pulls out and goes, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, and just starts unloading on him. That's their justification here. And they're calling Preddy, this ICU 37-year-old man, the fucking domestic terrorist. Like, it's just... It's crazy no matter what angle. I just don't understand where you're seeing that shit. But Bovino, man, he tried to find a fucking way. He did. He fucking he stood on a podium and stood on business with that shit. And it's not the first time. This is just his job. This is just his role. He is going to keep doing that shit. And apparently they're like, okay, man, maybe it's time we get you back to that office job. We get you back on the desk. The commander claimed that Preddy intended to massacre federal agents, a statement that angered many protesters on the street. Because once again, if you are looking at the timeline, that's just not what fucking happened. ICE agents were literally terrorizing these women who were fucking protesting, saying like, what the fuck are you guys doing here? They're getting fucking sprayed. He's fucking being like, stop doing that shit. And they literally come and just fucking swarm him. So I don't see where he's the terrorist here. What magical spell is he casting on these people to make them do that to him? I don't know. or the people who were just, once again, trying to fucking defend their fucking city from these people who have no business being there. The Department of Homeland Security, DHS, said the agents fired in self-defense after Preddy, who they say had a handgun, resisted their attempts to disarm him on Saturday. Eyewitnesses, local officials, and the victim's family have challenged that account, pointing out that Preddy had a phone in his hand, not a weapon. His parents, meanwhile, have accused the administration of spreading sickening lies about what happened. There's no sign of a gun in Preddy's hand, according to analysis of the available video by BBC Verify. Bovino has been key to the Trump administration's hardline approach to immigration enforcement in several cities. Active on social media and regularly filming raids and posting promotional videos showing his agents' actions. This dude is such a fucking freak. Because, like, he will glamorize everything, not just defend, but, like, valorize it. Then he takes it to, like, the other level of, like, going online and, like, being, like, rabidly online. So you could just be a Joe Schmo, like you or me, and, like, you just say, man, what the fuck are these people doing? Like, this is barbaric. This is evil, da-da-da-da. And then he goes, yeah, nice seeing you armchair quarterbacking. Like, could you imagine this shit? Like, it's just weird having that kind of ego and feeling that challenged by by a U.S. citizen, a normal person who's just saying, what the fuck? This guy's a freak. This guy's a fucking weirdo. This guy is unhinged. He's not human the way he's moving. And, like, no. He has to justify this shit to any random guy or gal online. It's weird behavior to do that, man. It really is like a definition of unhinged. Oh, man. Some media reports suggested Bovino had been let go from his role, but I skipped an important part. My bad. This is important because we need to talk about Homan. My bad. Homan, who will report directly to the president, advocates for the aggressive immigration enforcement pushed by Trump, but he also has longer-term experience in the role, having worked with immigration and deportations during the Democratic presidency of Barack Obama. This is a guy that Barack Obama likes, by the way. I think that's important to mention, that I haven't really mentioned on the pod, because we've talked about Homan before, in terms of, like, the bribe shit or whatever. But this is a guy, like, Barack Obama was like, yeah, no, this is my guy. Like, quote unquote, the necessary evil for him. But this was an enforcer for him. And he moves in just a more freed up way in Trump's administration. There's not much of a difference. I love the narrative that, like, pretty much most media is just taking, like, ad hoc, which is like, okay, yes, this is all dumb dog killer bitch Kristi Noem. Like, it's all her fault. And this rabid, fucking Kroger brand fixed nose Adrian Brody looking motherfucker. I know that's a little bit of a dig at Adrian Brody, but it's these two guys. It's these two agents of chaos that are actually wrecking this whole thing. It's wrecking the whole brand for ICE. And this Homan guy is some even-keeled, even-measured freak. No, he's not. Like, he's not some tactical hammer. He is just as unhinged, just as freak of the week as Kristi Noem, as Greg Bovino. He's just been at it longer. That's all. He just might have a little bit more, I guess you could say, tact, but really that's just for the camera. He wants the same thing that Trump wants. Like, there's no difference here. So, like, it's just changing faces more than anything else. So I really feel like it's important to say that. Like, if anything, things could get worse with the Homan guy at the wheel, because he knows he can't fucking miss, he can't fuck up here. But at the same time, these motherfuckers we gotta get the numbers up. That is what these motherfuckers are always about. There's no difference here in any of these three people I've mentioned. I feel like that's important to say. Tensions and frustration over the presence of federal officials remain high in Minneapolis on Monday. A lot of people aren't able to work right now. They aren't able to leave their house. They're afraid, said George Cordero, a resident of St. Paul, Minneapolis. And then they go through some other, people's testimonials and stuff. And they, once again, we're talking about Preddy again. But yeah, I mean, this has definitely sparked a big conversation, because it's so weird to, like, see, quote unquote, the liberal or, like, equivalent of, like, wait, I have a Second Amendment right to own a gun. I have a gun. I have it safely. Like, why can't I have this out? I'm in America. What's the problem? And all of a sudden it's like, oh, well, you're on the wrong side of the protest with the gun. Don't you understand? You can't do that. You can't have that. And the problem is, most of these, like, common sense ass fucking conservative Republicans, they know they can't say that. Like, they know that. But Donald Trump will just say that. He's like, well, he just shouldn't have brought the gun. And so you are seeing some conservatives take that take. But in general, you're seeing, like, the NRA and a lot of, like, other, you know, pro-gun head motherfuckers. They're kind of in a fucking dick twist here. They kind of have to fucking untwist themselves in and then say a thing. Like, it's very, for lack of a better, it's certain kind of funny, I guess I can say. It's sad that it's come to this, and we're in the situation where you're seeing, okay, well, now we're flipping the conversation. Are you still saying that guns, you know, are fine and A-okay? And honestly, that most people are. Yeah, they're like, okay, actually, he should have been allowed to have the gun. You shouldn't be, like, you know, killing him for that. Like, that's generally a common sense thing. But once again, this is a sticky wicket for conservatives, and they don't exactly know how to navigate it. They're kind of stuck here. Because once again, he didn't do anything untoward with the gun. They keep wanting to say he was brandishing it and they had to take it away from him. But why? He didn't do anything with it. He had it. That is his right as an American to fucking have. But it does lead me to the thought that I have. And I find myself kind of pondering. This isn't to besmirch Pretty or anything like this. But it goes to show my fear that I try to explain to people that, like, yes, it is your right to have a gun. And, like, it would be advantageous for you. Like, there's so many reasons for sure. There's a lot of pros in it. But also, it becomes a prop tool for the other side to use to just say, oh, guess what? You have a gun? So you're my opposition with the gun? You're threatening? You're threatening me? Oh, I have a gun. I'm going to use it on you. We have the guns. We're going to use them on you. We're the state. We're going to do what we want, and we're going to use that gun as a prop is what I'm saying. It almost always is that. So, like, what's the fucking point? You wind up dying anyway. You don't even get a chance to defend yourself. This man did all the right things and he died, like, with the gun on him. So once again, I'm saying this shit, this weird meandering way to kind of say, hey, this is an example of why I just don't even bother. I don't even want to. Now, I'm not saying I'll never own a gun or whatever. Like, I respect everyone's right to fucking do whatever the fuck they want under this goddamn constitution, this goddamn country, whatever. But please understand that, like, it just doesn't save you, man. And you could have all the guns in the world. Guess who has more? Your fucking government, bro. Like, and they'll have an excuse to blow you away, and none of them will go to jail. Because you'll notice we haven't rounded up any of these motherfuckers. We're talking about investigations, but that's it. Same thing with fucking Pretty. Same thing with fucking Renee Good. So, you know what I mean? Like, you can do everything right, and it won't fucking matter at the end of the day. They will fucking delete your ass and say it's your fault somehow. Or they will try to, dude. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that to me, it is a sad but true thing. It's so insane, but, like, that is what we would rather do as Americans than, like, even try to attack or attempt to handle the problem. It's just like, nah, we would just rather be the Wild West about this shit. But once again, we will deal with this issue where now we have once again, the person on the other side, the liberal with the gun, and it's like, oh my God, you can't do that. Oh, man. Okay. Well, speaking of lib shit, let's get progressive. This was some breaking news. I wasn't covering this because it wasn't on my docket until right before I went live. And I was like, oh shit. So yeah, we're talking Minneapolis. Got a little bit of an update, from The Guardian. Ilhan Omar sprayed with unknown substance during town hall in Minneapolis. At her first town hall of the year in Minneapolis, Congresswoman Ilhan Omar was sprayed with an unidentified substance while making her opening remarks. Omar had just started speaking when a man sprayed her from the front row of the community center, where the event is taking place in the north of the city. The man was swiftly tackled to the ground by security, but Omar insisted on continuing the town hall despite the incident, refusing to let it stop her addressing constituents. The attacker, who did not identify a particular political affiliation when he sprayed Omar, was quickly escorted out of the room as the crowd applauded his removal. I learned at a young age that you don't give in to threats, Omar said. So, I mean, I thought that was some G fucking shit there. Let's see here. What did I want to add? See, they've added some live updates, so they kind of, there we go, found my highlighted portion. Mea culpa. In the video footage of the incident, individuals seated behind Omar urged her to get checked out before continuing, but she refused to stop, saying, "Please don't let them have the show. Here's the reality that people like this ugly man don't understand. We are Minnesota strong, and we will stay resilient in the face of whatever they might throw at us," Omar said. She told reporters as she departed, "I've survived war, and I'm definitely going to survive intimidation and whatever these people think they can throw at me because I'm built that way." Dude, okay. And I just want to say this aside. I've made this aside before. There's not many fucking politicians that I fucking respect, especially in this fucking country, of course, right? But there is something about Ilhan Omar, and by all means, you can hit my DMs if you know the tea that I don't fucking know, where she's been caught lacking or whatever. By all means, educate me, enlighten me. By all means, I would love to find out all the ways that these people are snakes. Cool, whatever. But with Ilhan Omar, in terms of like being a part of the squad, in terms of like being like progressive or whatever, she's the only motherfucker that I've seen be about the shit time after fucking time after fucking time. Okay? Not just on like rhetoric on a fucking podium, but in her fucking actions, which is my biggest fucking gripe with someone like an AOC or, God forbid I say it, a Bernie fucking Sanders. Okay? Those are motherfuckers who I've watched let me down multiple fucking times. When you actually go through the fucking history of what they are actually okay with, what they what they don't actually like go all the way with and they capitulate for, whatever. Like, it's upsetting. It rattles me. It makes me sad. And I'm not saying that Ilhan Omar hasn't done any capitulation. You got to get along to give along this fucking shit. That's just how it works, goddamn it, in politics. That's democracy, baby. But there's just something about her that, like, once again, from what I've seen, she stands on business. She fucking means that shit. She's like the only one that I've covered and talked about that I'd actually want to take a picture with and shake their fucking hand. You know what I mean? And I wouldn't be doing that just for like some fucking clout. Like, no, I fucking respect your ass, bro. Thank you. Thank you for what you do. You know what I mean? I feel like this is a hard thing these days to really see. I say these days, like, take me all the way back to like year zero. And I'm sure I don't like that politician or slew of politicians then either, you know, whatever. But I don't know. There is something about Omar that I fuck with. That's all I can say. But crazy that someone was just like, "Oh, I'm gonna fucking hit you with the fucking Agent X." I don't know what the substance was. So if I do get any details on that, like I said, this was breaking news. So, you know, I don't know, but kudos for her for tanking that shit. And that's the end of me glazing. Okay. I don't like glazing politicians in general, but I just feel like it goes without saying, like, I know for me, fuck, if you put me in a situation, politics, not politics, whatever, you're throwing a random fucking goo on me? You're throwing some liquids on me? Oh, show's over. Party's over. I gotta go home, take a shower. I gotta change wardrobes. I'm icky, bro. No. Why would you do that? I'm crying. I'm getting emotional. You know, that would be my whole podcast episode, is about how someone who doesn't like me fucking gooed me, slime me out. I've been making so much hay about that. So hell yeah for her. You know, kudos are flowers for her. Anyway, let's move on to our last story for the day. This is going to be more of a riff. There's not really that much even details to talk about, but we've been talking, you know, from last week, you know, in terms of like the tariff shit, in terms of EU and jeopardy, you know, fucking NATO, what's going to happen? Oh my God. Well, you know, we're a little bit of afterglow, but we're talking deals, and we're talking deals without Trump. So, you know, let's get international. Let's talk fucking Turkey. I don't know, actually not Turkey, the country, but Turkey, the food. That's a saying that we use in the States. I don't know. I'm not using any of these phrases correctly. Let's take our last break and we'll go ahead and close it out. Oh, man. Oh, I didn't mention this in the top part of the blog, so a little bit of bonus action. They did fix my toilet. There was some kind of leak. One of the, I don't know, hoses, whatever, not pipes, but something was leaking. They found it, they replaced it, and good, no more puddles. But it was crazy that, like, they literally kind of fixed it. They slowed the leak down, but I noticed it was leaking overnight, and I'm like, I'm gonna have to call them today. And I did, and sure enough, I had to go through it all over again with them, and they're like, okay, yeah, we'll send someone back out, and they'll fix it. I'm like, you were going to let this shit rot. You're going to let me drown Oh man, I love it. I love my landlord. Look, I'm just happy things are coming around. I mean, really, I think the only biggest bummer was I came home to like my spot that it took me like, like I said the other day, about 30 minutes to shovel out, only for some fucking minivan that knows that that's my spot, just for them to take it. So yeah, they got the note. They got the note. I am the pettiest. I do not care. Last time I did this, which was last week, I put a note on someone's car. They drove with the note on their car. How do you know that, Isaiah? Because they didn't take it off. So what I had to do was then take the note again, and then I raised their windshield wiper up so that they would know, like their other one. So it's like, hey man, do you want to drive around like that? Because you drove around like a fucking idiot with this note on your car all day. So I know you're down to do that again. How about I just do this? Like, you gotta let sure, like, I am down to become a petty ass ghost about this shit. Like, you will be at least aware that you are fucking up my vibe, okay? Because I'm disrupting yours. That is my goal in these moments. I'm sorry, okay? And if that can't make me a bad neighbor, I refuse to accept that's what makes me a bad neighbor. Fuck that. Get out of my spot. It's assigned. Okay. All right. Let's talk. Ooh. From the BBC. Trump's shadow looms over India-EU trade deal. We'll just read a little bit of this. The trade deal between India and the European Union is as much about geopolitics as it is about intercontinental business relations. The EU is already India's largest partner, with trade and goods reaching $142.3 billion in 2024, amounting to 11.5% of the South Asian nation's total trade. India is the EU's ninth largest trading partner. These are impressive numbers and reflect strong relations, and yet trade talks were stuck for 2 decades. And then there's some yada, yada, yada. But essentially, Donald Trump has kind of knocked loose this bit of trade silence or static between the two countries, because everyone's kind of in a bit of a scramble post this tariff reconstruction here. And whenever there's more pressure, everyone kind of knows that it's like, we reached our boiling point last year. We capitulated as much as we could. We don't want to have to keep doing this. So what's the solution? And I can't remember if I talked about this in the pod or just wanted to, but like, one of the highlights from Davos was Mark Carney's little fucking speech. It was very rousing, but essentially saying, hey, if we don't get out from under these great powers, essentially either US or China, if we don't work together as like the middle countries, which I think he was aiming that at fellow European countries, if we don't actually form a strong coalition and make deals with other big nations, we're cooked. We're cooked. Like, I think he even used the thing of like, we're going to be slaves. It's like, yeah, I guess so, Mark. I guess you're going to be under the fucking yoke, man. Like you aren't already. Like, come on, let's be real. But yeah, I think that this is really forcing countries to reinvent these relationships and go to countries that they didn't really want to go to and have conversations they really didn't want to have, because guess what? Trump is making this shit untenable. The Trump administration, the U.S., is not your partner. They are not working with you. They are working against you. This is full-on competition for them, and it's a zero-sum game, and they want to win it. We want to win it. I guess I got to say we here. I'm involved, right? I'm American. I don't know, what the fuck was that accent? Anyway, so yeah, like it's kind of every country for yourself, and the best thing that you guys can do is actually say, okay, wait, let's just keep squadding up. We're good. You and I, we're good. Like, let's form a stronger block. Let's actually, like, not fold here. And we'll be all right. We'll be able to make it through the storm. But, I mean, this is all really rosy talk and cool to do at a summit. But this is where the rubber's going to start meeting the road, is when you actually sit down and have conversations about, you know, okay, we're going to make this deal, right? And we're going to hold this deal. Because you know the Trump administration is going to see us do this shit, and they're going to go berserk with the tariff gun, okay? And yeah, we got our trade bazooka. We don't know how effective that's going to be. We think it's going to be really effective, but, you know, who knows? You really got to knock these things down and stand on it. So, I mean, kind of going back to Mark Carney in Canada, Trump has already announced, he's like, look, if you guys are going to go to that deal, I'm going to fucking do 100% tariff on your ass. I'm going to crank up the volume. So, essentially, once again, we are right back where we were last year, where we have Trump saying, look, dude, I'm going to fucking tariff your ass even harder. Keep playing with me. So, what is Mark Carney? What is Canada going to do? We're going to find out, I guess. Are they going to, stand firm on this whole, e-vehicle shit or whatever the fuck they got going on with China and the other shit? We will see. What is this deal going to look like between the EU and India? How lucrative is that going to be for the both of them? How deep is that going to fucking go? How is America going to react to that? These are all things that are getting set up now. So I'm interested to see how it's going to go. I'm a whole geopolitical economic guy now, right? I feel like we've been talking about it enough. I'm very interested to see how this is going to play out for 2026 and beyond. Because, you got to keep making these deals. If you don't see more of these deals, then you're just going to see more of the same from last year, right? And that's just Trump trying to fucking tariff you into the dirt until you do what he says, right? So, and that's a thing regardless. He's going to keep moving in that way. But are you going to actually do an effective counter? That is what we're, looking to see this year, huh? All right. So, yeah, that's it. That's all I have for today. That's the episode. If you'd like to help out, support the effort, I do have a Patreon. Patreon.com/Isaiah News. Become a newsie today. Get you on the roll call. That's coming up for next month. Run down all the names, plug a project if you like. That's an option. You can also be a silent donor if that's what you're into, by all means. But yeah, no, it's really just a tip jar at the end of the day. There's some old little random archived episodes there too. I got a little notes thing. Yeah, these are all filler things. Once again, it really is just to say, hey, I like what you did, man. Keep up the good work. And that's always appreciated. Sometimes saying thank you with the almighty dollar really just, it hits a little different. But yeah, free ways to hit me up, IsaiahNews1@gmail.com. Free ways to, feel free to follow the socials. That's funny to get to. Yeah, all of the socials, which are also free. Let's see, follow me on, or subscribe to the YouTube. That's right. Subscribe to the YouTube, follow on TikTok, follow on Spotify, follow on Apple Podcasts, wherever you like to listen. Leave a like, leave a cool comment. Sharing is caring. 5 stars on Spotify, 5 stars on Apple Podcasts are always appreciated. But if you don't do any of that shit, that's fine. If you're just listening and you're like, hell yeah, I like what this guy's saying, or I don't, but I'm down to listen to what he does tomorrow, hell yeah. Thank you so much for that. I really just appreciate you taking a chance on me. Or if this is just something you've already liked and you're a long-term listener, thank you for sticking around, dude. You're a big reason I want to do this shit. You know what I mean? I know maybe you and I have never talked, you and I, but just know that I love and I appreciate you for what you do. Anyway, thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for being a friend. And hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.